thinking that their wives are more advanced than them, their husbands just follow them into the forest and also gaze at Krishna with their love-laden glances. But we're not so fortunate. We have to stay at home because our husbands are too jealous. And then they will glorify the cows, that even the cows are more fortunate than us. Because when the cows are grazing, and then they hear the sound of Krishna's flute, they immediately stop chewing, and the grasses just hang from their mouths, neither falling nor being swallowed. And then they take Govinda, Krishna, within their hearts, through the cups of their ears, and embrace him there. So Krishna's flute playing is so miraculous that just by his flute playing, the whole sky resounds with music, just by his flute playing. And the birds, who are just like great sages, sit on the branches of the trees there, the desire trees in Vrindavan. The gopis are all seeing and speaking to themselves, sometimes feeling separation, and then sometimes feeling meeting within that separation and weeping as they're speaking. And they can hardly speak because their throats are all choked up with ecstasy of the remembrance of Krishna. Gurudev gives an example that even in this material world, such things are possible. There was once a very advanced in spiritual life music teacher named Haridas, and he had two students. One name was Tansane, and one's name was Bahir Bavara. And they were both fantastic singers. But Tansane was, you know the story? You look like you know it. He was a favorite of the king. And the king made an injunction that no one except for Tansane can sing in Delhi. And if anybody tries to sing, then he has to undergo a competition with Tansane. And if he loses, he has to be severely punished by the court. So no one dared sing in Delhi. But Bhairi Bavara, he very boldly sang. So the king, and he was arrested, and they said, well, now you'll have to go in competition. So Bhairi Bavara said, of course, no problem. Who's going to be the judge? So the king said, my queens will be the judge. We'll have the competition in our palace. So Bhairi Bavara said, no, that's not going to work because your queens are automatically prejudiced. Let's go to the forest and let's have the animals of the forest be the judge. So everybody agreed. The whole king's assembly, all the citizens came out to the forest. And first, Tansang sang. Nothing happened. And then Bhairi Bavara sang, and all the deer who never come near a human being, the birds, the rabbits, all the deer came and were completely overwhelmed and just standing there staring. And Bhairi Bavara took a garland off himself and garlanded the neck of one of the deers. And then after the singing stopped, the deers all ran away again. So then he said to Tansang, okay, let's see you bring the deers back. So Tansang sang the hardest that he ever tried, but nothing happened. So then Tansang said, well, they just came out of curiosity the first time. That's why they didn't come back the second time. So then Bhairi Bavara again sang, and 10 times as many animals came. And he took that garland off the neck of the deer and put it back on himself. And then after he finished singing, all the deers went away. And there is some, so he won. So there is some musicians and singers who can even make fire happen just by the beautiful tones. And some of them can even make it rain. So when Krishna would play his flute, the gopis are seeing this by their the eyes of their transcendental loving emotions. When Krishna is playing the flute, It's so hot out that the ground would be so hot. The pebbles would be like fire. And so, by Krishna's flute playing, the clouds, who are very friendly with Krishna, everything's personified there. Everything in Vrindavan is made of Vishuddha Sattva, or the topmost spiritual essence. So the clouds are friends with Krishna because they're the same color. Krishna is also Ganasham, he's the color of a fresh rain cloud. And then to please Krishna and his friends, the rain clouds would, because they're experiencing sattvika bhavs, or 8 kinds of transformation of ecstasy, they would weep. And the weeping would be very fine showers that would be just like fragrant flowers. That would, number one, make an umbrella over Krishna to protect him from the sun. And number two, give this flower-like fine shower to cool him off. So the gopis were saying, even these clouds are more fortunate than us. And even the birds, they sit on the trees, and birds are generally always singing and twitting and very restless. But these birds are just like great sages, and they sit on the branches that are filled with leaves. And the reason that they sit on the branches that are filled with leaves, because they become silent just like sages. And if they're going to faint, which they have a tendency to do, then they won't fall off the branch. They'll just fall on this very thick foliage. So the gopis are glorifying Krishna and his associates like this in meeting and separation. So Srila